Miri and Marc El Khoury are a couple with a passion for dance and the arts, passing it on to their children and future generations. Miri, a unique fusion belly dancer and past winner of the Belly Dancer of the Universe competition with Mandala Dance Works, combines hip hop and tribal dance where precision, flow, and storytelling exist. She constantly shows love in the belly dance community, creating beautiful outlets for dancers by producing her own events, such as A Taste of Belly Dance LA, being the president of the LA chapter of MECDA, Middle Eastern Culture and Dance Association, as well as an officer and co-president of BFLA, Belly Fusion Los Angeles. A chef and a belly dancer for over 15 years, she has performed throughout several states, sharing her love of dance with the community, and is constantly creating new shows with her husband, son, and recently born child. Marc El Khoury is an actor, writer, and internationally known hand drummer from Lebanon who now lives and performs in Los Angeles. A natural drummer since the age of 4, he has studied at the Lebanese Music Conservatory and graduated from the Lebanese University of Fine Arts with a degree in theater acting. He has toured the world, released his own music, and has shared the stage with Haifa Webb, Fifi Abdo, and many more. His style combines the Arabic and Turkish technique. Marc has performed with many belly dancers in LA and throughout the States. As an actor, he has appeared in Lebanese soap operas, Pepsi commercials, and independent films such as The High Road, Drifting, and East of Byzantium, War Gods and Warrior Saints. And today, in Dancing America, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Miri and Marc El Khoury. Yes, I can see you guys. Yay!
Yes, Tony.
Let me see. Better?
That's good. That's so good. Oh, thank you so much for doing this, guys.
Okay. Let's see.
Yes. So
Nice.
I felt like I was on a deadline because I completely forgot that Miri, that you're pregnant. And then I realized, and you posted how many weeks along you are. And then I said, oh my God, I better get them in because once the baby's here, I won't be, it'll be really hard to juggle it and to have the interview and all of that with a brand new baby. So how are you feeling?
I feel great.
Nice. You look great.
Thank you. Oh, just kidding.
So I am so grateful that you guys are doing this. Welcome to Dancing America. Welcome to this interview. And for me, so special because you guys are my first family, actually. The first family, mom and dad and baby on the way. So, yes. So let me introduce you. This is Miri El Khoury. She's a fabulous belly dancer, award-winning belly dancer. And this is Marc El Khoury, a beautiful percussionist, an actor. You're also a writer, right? So you guys are just 100% artistic. So welcome. And I just want to start by asking each one of you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do and where were you dancing or performing, or what were you doing before this COVID-19 hit? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm a dancer. I'm a belly dancer. And I was mostly dancing with companies.
Mm-hmm.
I hate solo work. I get very work. So I was mostly dancing in companies or duets or trios. The last one was with Swarm Animals.
Uh-huh.
And I also was reading tarot.
Oh, nice.
So that's something that I do on the side. I'm also a personal chef.
Okay.
So very busy.
Nice. Okay. And what about you, Marc?
What was the question? Because
tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do and where you dance, or if you dance, that would be great too. But yes.
So I'm a percussionist. I play the Middle Eastern percussion instruments.
Okay.
Before like Corona, that's what I did for a living. I used to work in a lot of events, weddings, engagement parties, any event that need a percussionist,
Okay.
bands, DJs, belly dancers, recording.
Okay.
I did a music video on my own, like me and my wife, we did a music video.
Oh.
And mostly and writing, because we wrote a movie together. I was writing a lot. Yeah.
Oh, how nice. Oh, that's beautiful. So how do you guys, is that how you guys met, through the arts?
Yes.
Yes. Technically. I went to an event that like he happened to be playing at, and I met him there once, but I was still with somebody. And then a year later, I moved into a friend's dance studio, came to a big drum jam that they were having, and I just happened to be in that day, and I was single, so it was on.
Oh, nice. And that's how it started. Oh, I love it that you guys met through the arts. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, I'm going to take turns between Miri and between Mark. So Miri, how do you start dancing? How do you get into this crazy world of dance and belly dance and what you do? When did you start? What made you choose your particular style of dance and that sort of thing?
The first time that I started dancing was in high school.
Okay.
Realized that it was an option to PE.
Okay.
And I didn't have to run anymore, so I joined the first dance team that they had there.
Okay.
And ended up going into hip hop competitions.
Okay.
So I started dancing hip hop in high school for the rest of my career there. And afterwards, I stopped dancing for a little bit when I went to culinary school. I went to culinary school for a little bit, so I didn't dance anymore. And then my father passed away, and I needed something to refocus my energy into. So dance was the first thing that came into my mind.
Your mind, oh wow.
Performing felt so great for me, and I found.
I feel very close.
Ay, that's beautiful.
A class at El Camino College, and it was a jazz dance class, but it ended up that the teacher was learning belly dance.
Okay.
So
nice.
Yeah, so she said, actually it was at LACC, and she made an announcement that she would be teaching some belly dance at El Camino College.
Okay.
Well, I took the bus down there I'd never heard of belly dance, like those two words together. I was like, I couldn't even conceptualize what it was. And I went and took it, and I fell in love right away.
Nice.
Like, while she was doing a tribal fusion, what's called fusion style.
Okay.
And so I signed up for that class, and I started going all the time. We were like a small group. And after a while, we performed a couple of times, and we loved it so much that we were begging her to create a company. We were like, can we be a company?
Oh, that's beautiful.
And she was hesitant because she had a bad experience with companies before, but then she decided to go for it. And our first year as a company, we went and won the Belly Dancer of the Universe competition back in 2007. And then we just had a long kind of career of performing in States. We were traveling a lot, and after that, I changed to a couple of different other companies and some different styles like folk dance and rock sharky. So, got into belly dance.
Oh, that's beautiful, Miri.
Then I'm creating belly dance events.
Okay. So the kind of belly dance that you do, can you say it again? What type? Because we get confused. Like I'm more acquainted with the traditional belly dance, but you called it
tribal fusion.
Tribal fusion. Yes. What is tribal fusion for those of us that don't know what that is?
Tribal fusion is a mixture of, like, now it's become many different things, but originally taking the original, or the Americanized version of belly dance, and adding a bit of more folkloric flavor.
Okay.
Rock Sharky belly dance or Egyptian belly dance is kind of more like the ballet of belly dance. It's more kind of up, very kept in. And tribal fusion tribal dance started really grounding it and having more and movements that were more earthy, bringing it kind of down, kind of grounding it down. And then the fusion started coming in when people would want to put in hip hop with it, or modern dance or something like that. They would just start mixing the styles using a base of belly dance.
Oh wow, that sounds so good. I mean, I remember seeing you and Sarah when I was taking the flamenco class, and you guys were so beautiful. You and her were my favorite dancers when I used to see you guys performing, because it was just the way you guys moved, and the choreographies were fantastic. I mean, that mixture really
good.
Yeah, I guess seeing it piques people's curiosity, because I guess we're so used to the traditional that then when we see something new, it's so refreshing to watch.
Yeah, and it really opens up the movement vocabulary, because
of course,
go anywhere.
You can take it anywhere and you can mix. Yes. Okay. And what about Mark? Where did he go? I wanted to ask him about how did he get into his percussion? What made him get into percussion? And okay.
Sorry, we're trying to.
No, of course you have to prepare. Oh, that's for him.
A little water so he could chill. Otherwise, he want to talk a lot, which is cute.
Oh, yes.
You know how I percussion? I still remember one time I was watching a VHS tape that my mom had on Christmas night. It was like 1994. 1993 actually. I was 4 years old, and I saw myself drumming on a bucket, a blue bucket. You know those buckets back in the day for to mop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was very shocked that I'm like, how the heck I know how to do this? I was like 4. I was like, I don't know how to somebody grab something and just drum.
That. Yeah.
I didn't remember anybody trying to drum in front of me. Like right now I drum in front of Tony, and now he likes to drum. So I was very interested in that, and I bought my first drum. I was 6 years old. It was really big. I couldn't even carry it. I was so excited, and since then I drummed every day. I loved it. I watched a lot of videos for drummers.
Oh my god!
And then I went to the conservatory back home, the music. I was 16. I went for 4 years. I studied.
Where is home? Sorry, I forgot to ask you. Where are you from?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. And you, Miri, are you from here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was born in Seoul, but I lived in LA my whole life.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Mark. So you went to the conservatory.
Yeah, I studied the drum. My mom was, and I liked the drum set too. So my mom said, "You're gonna have to pick between the drum set and the doumbek." Because she couldn't afford two teachers, like conservatory and a drum teacher. And I was in school, so I had to pick one.
You had to pick one.
Yeah, I picked the doumbek, and then I went for 4 years. I studied it, and then I started like performing. I was 17. I went to this club in Lebanon, and I asked them if I could just drum for free because I really like it, and they let me drum. And then I started meeting people, and I started drumming with groups. Okay. And when I went to acting school, because I went to acting school too, like after high school, I went to do acting. I start shifting my passion to more acting, because I was already acting when I was 16, like for fun.
Okay.
Life was always between doumbek and acting.
Let me ask you, for those, I don't know, like I've seen all kinds of drums, but I have no idea what a doumbek is.
Oh, I have one.
Oh, you have? Yay.
They're everywhere.
That came in handy. One of them. This is a doumbek.
Okay, and that's particular to What kind
Middle.
of music? Egyptian music?
Oh yeah,
Middle
this is
Eastern?
Middle Eastern. So
Middle Eastern.
it's like all the Middle East, and not just the Middle East, North Africa too.
North Africa. Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is. But even the Greeks use it. Like I know Greeks love it. Turkish, which is
Okay.
I don't the Middle East, it's Europe. Turkish is a very Turkish. A lot of people, even I've heard that in Bulgaria, which is Eastern Europe. I'm not really sure. They use it too. So
They have. Oh wow.
obviously, it's an Oriental instrument. You know, yeah. It's more known in the Arabic world, but it's not just the Arabic world. Like Greek people, Turkish, all the Arabic world, obviously, North Africa. You know, yeah.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. And then ever since then, you have been alternated between your drums and your acting.
Yeah. So when I went to school for acting, I was just I just decided to be an actor. Like I started even doing TV shows. I was very young, 18 years old. I got my first TV show in Lebanon, and it was a big hit. Like I got really known. You know, I still remember I used to go on catch the bus to school, and people would recognize me and like oh, that's you. Yeah, you know, even till now, I'm still trying to find myself between those two careers because they're very immersed in me. Like I love drumming is something I'm born with, I believe so, and acting is something I picked up. It was a passion that it just came to me when I was like 15, 16. Because one of my best friends got a camera, a gift.
Okay.
Our filming project schools.
Oh, nice.
We didn't want to do like projects like write and kids, or like we asked the teachers if we do videos, is that you know, can we do that? Like, yeah, you can do that as long as you provide the project too.
Of course.
So as an escape from doing homework.
Oh,
and
nice.
It became something very fun, and then I went to do it for school, and I even moved here. So the reason I moved here because I went to Universal Studios. I did acting for films because what I did in was theater, which is different. I mean, you know, it's still acting, but it's different techniques. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
We both did our thing to get away from something in school.
Yeah, isn't that amazing how the arts work? And how do you guys prepare for upcoming shows? Like I'm gonna start with Miri. Miri, what do you do? Do you have any kind of ritual or any kind of special preparation that you go through when you have an upcoming performance?
A few weeks beforehand, I try to just run the piece over and over and over again. So I film myself doing it. I'll usually try to watch whoever I feel like is the best performer in my group.
Okay.
Study it on video and copy it over and over again, and I tape myself so that I can see and kind of critique how well I'm flowing with it, if I'm hitting on the right beat, because I noticed that, and I'm deaf in my left ear, so sometimes it's hard for me to pick up the rhythm that somebody else hears.
Okay.
So I always try to watch them and see what they're hearing. Necessarily hear the same thing. Sometimes I'm dancing and do some movement that I'm like, where is that sound?
Wow. Oh my God, that's amazing.
So I watch it over again and again and again. I'm like, oh, there it is. So it started training my ear to hear all these little subtleties. I study music, so a lot of belly dancers, they get really familiar with the drum beats and the rhythms. And I never took the time to hear that, especially with fusion. A lot of stuff that we did was to like, it could be to like industrial music.
Yeah, exactly. You guys didn't exactly perform to traditional music, of course.
Yeah, so I was hearing and catching all those little rhythms and anticipating what's coming up next, even though we have choreography to it.
Yeah.
Really had to practice over and over again so that I would feel confident.
Of course.
And like look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Really, so I just run it over and over again. I would have him tape me so that I could just see visually if I'm matching it or not.
Are you still like what? practice?
Sometimes I'm not as disciplined with it, but I like to challenge myself with trying to learn something new if I can't go out to a class, especially like now.
Mm-hmm. And since you're a chef, is there something that you do about your diet in preparation for your upcoming shows, or do you continue eating the same way, or do you decide to get more into more, I don't know, more vegetables or more fruit for energy or more legumes or meat? I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm a foodie for life. I eat everything.
You eat everything
all the time. I try to have not like a fully empty stomach before
of
so that I
course.
bowls or anything like that. But I definitely have to eat. Like food is very connected to my energy.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, and I remember trying to kind of fit the dancer body image when I was, because I was a little bit chubbier when I was in high school. But as I got on with, dancing and belly dance, what I loved about it was that the bodies were so diverse. Almost size that was like, this is the belly dance size. And as I got into dancing and enjoying myself, my body naturally went to a weight that was comfortable for me.
For you.
Diet or do anything. And people would ask me like, oh, you're looking great. What are you doing? I'm like, just enjoying my life.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm so glad that you're touching on that. I love that. Because a lot of times dancers have a tendency to go through these crazy, like exercise routines and like strict diets and calorie restriction just in order to fit that ideal size that you're supposed to be, or that you're like, or just to please a choreographer that is asking you like to lose weight. So that's such a beautiful statement that you just made. Like you just naturally went to the size you needed to be and that your body felt happy with because you were enjoying life. That's beautiful. All right, Mark, what about you? How do you prepare for an upcoming performance?
So it depends on the performance. Like lately, I was doing a lot of gigs where I'm playing with DJs.
Okay.
And I have a set, but mostly the music it's kind of like the same. So and it's more flowing, so I don't need a preparation for those types of shows. But if I'm performing with belly dancers, I always have it on my phone, record it, or on my computer where we practice something, and this is like a 2-3 minute solo. So I have to I practice. I like just listen to it, make sure I know what I'm gonna play, like exactly like noted, like a piano.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm playing a piece because the dancer will be practice all the hits that I'm doing with the record. Can't be doing that something else. It's gonna look weird.
Of course, no.
That's way more time. Even though I'll be playing the piece, like it's my piece, but I still, because we met, we improvised, and we came out with something. And then we both rehearse it, and then we meet 3-4 times before the show, and then we go do the show.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, these demands more work,
Of course, yeah. I know there's always that. It's so cool that I'm talking to you guys because you're a musician, and there's always that relationship between the musician and the dancer. And a lot of times because it's happened to me, when you do live gigs, musicians also get the adrenaline rush. They also get excited, and then you're dancing, and then they're rushing, and they're like, they're also feeling it, and you're like, oh my God, okay, we didn't rehearse it like this, but fine. Does that happen to you? Do you ever get so excited that you might play it a little bit more?
But I'll be honest with you, if I'm doing a set like where I rehearsed it, no, I can't, because I really have same, like belly dance is very specific when it comes to what you're playing, because it's, especially with the drum solo. But if it's a song, like there's other musicians with me where she's mostly doing the melody and the beat, but not all the
intricate. Yeah.
Then I could flow and do I'm feeling it. But if she's drum solo, I can't.
You cannot. Oh, that's nice. You're a good musician. Mary.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you guys get out of your headspace when you feel insecurities? And do you have insecurities?
So many insecurities.
Who doesn't?
To get out of my headspace, let's see. I probably need to switch something up to get out of my headspace. If I'm getting freaked out or something, or I've been rehearsing a particularly hard bit of choreography, can't get past it for whatever reason, I have to take a break. I have to listen to music. I need to take a walk. I need to write. I need to take a long bath. Just anything else to get out of that space.
Yeah.
And then be visited or come back, because I'll usually try to just knock it out in one block of time each day until I got it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just not working out, I have to stop. I have to reset.
Reset. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's so good. Yay. What about you, Mark? Do you have any insecurities, and what do you do to overcome them?
It depends on if I'm talking music. You know, I'll be honest with you. I don't have a lot of insecurities when it comes to my drum.
Okay.
No, because I've so long, and besides, depends. I would have insecurities if I'm doing something new, like a beat that I'm not used to.
Yeah.
Kind of, some like I don't know how, maybe a 13/8 or a 10/8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that I'm not used to play a lot, because most of the gigs I do, or even the music I grew up on, at least me, I'm not saying all my music is, it's mostly 4/4 and 6/8 and stuff like that. For me, they're pretty easy, but when it comes to other beats where I don't play them a lot, I have to beat mostly and not improvise in the beat. So these are sometimes insecurities for me. I'll be honest with you, because I'm not used to play that music.
Okay.
That's an insecurity, but mostly I would have to practice a lot. Like, I was doing a percussion band recently, COVID, and I had a member from Mexico and another member from
Brazil?
no, she was from no. Okay, I forgot.
Okay.
She's been here for 10 years, so she comes from a Brazilian experience playing drums. And whole different world, different counting, different way of playing. So that was not, it didn't give me insecurities, it just gave me a lot of challenges to memorize type of beats. And because we were doing like a band together, and I had to memorize stuff, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, but when it comes to acting, I might have more insecurities towards the acting career. Because I feel like most of the time, because I'm trying to be more myself than anything right now in my life.
Yeah.
It is yourself, but a lot of times it is, you know, messing with yourself a lot to get somewhere where the character has to be, and it's more challenging emotionally than music for me.
Than music. You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I just remember one of the first statements you made was that drumming is such a big part of you. It comes from the heart. And you don't have, and because it comes from the heart, then you don't have that many insecurities. I mean, your challenges, but it's like, it's part of your DNA that is like second nature.
Yes, it is. Yeah, acting came later in my life, and it came, you know, in a different, you know, and even in writing, I have insecurities, even though I love my poems, I love the movie I wrote. They're not as much, because I think once you are like confident or like fine with yourself, you're like, this is what I do, this is my degree of doing these things, you'll be comfortable. But when it comes to trying to compete with other people for some reason, then you're gonna have insecurities. Like if you wanna other dancers, you might find a lot of, oh, I don't know how to do this. She does it better, or. But I don't believe in this. I believe in we're all unique and we all bring something to the art. We don't have, even though we're art people.
Yes.
But
That's
once
beautiful.
You love yourself enough to accept the way you do things, and always, you always have to practice and get better. But I don't think you should be like other people, and that's when insecurity comes. Like, well, I'm not like this writer. I'm not like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can see that too. It depends. Like, probably for drumming, you're more it's part of you, and you're doing it your way. With acting or with certain types of dance, you're always trying to you're trying to please someone else's vision, and when you're trying to please someone else's vision, you're like, oh my god, you're not pleasing yourself. You're fulfilling that person's vision of what they think they want, or like, I want my character to look this way.
I don't want to be harming acting in any way. At the end, it is you at the end, because any character, it should be you at the end in some way. It's a very big stretch for me. I'm saying, not for other people, is their only passion. For me, when it comes to both, I have more insecurities in the acting world, I'd say.
Okay. No. So besides rehearsal, besides your practice and everything else that you do, what else do you do to stay in shape for your art? Like, in your case, it would be, what else do you do to stay on top of your game as an actor and as a percussionist? And for Miri, what other things do you supplement your dancing with in order to stay on top of it? Exercises or rituals or practices that complement your art for both of you?
Yeah, I definitely stretch a lot. I tried to get into yoga, it just wasn't working for me. Joining a lot of different companies helped me a lot, because it really diversified like what I knew of dance and challenged me. Every time I met a new teacher,
that's good.
That I never did before, and I really have to stretch. Egyptian dance was the hardest for me to learn. There was a teacher, Tamara Henna, who I love to watch, and by the grace of God, she accepted me into one of her classes after I had auditioned for her company, and I didn't make it, but she said she liked me and wanted to let me into their
oh, that's so nice.
So nice. I was like, whoa, I'm here. And I was stood in the back.
Oh.
Myself, I was like, this is so hard. She was really doing something very beautiful with Egyptian dance. And I pushed myself a lot, and I felt bad after every rehearsal because I just didn't feel like I was getting it. But every time I go through a different teacher, I just keep showing up and I keep trying it. I don't have like a give up button. I think I have one in my head, like, just stop embarrassing yourself. But I don't have, my heart doesn't have like a give up button. So I keep going and pushing myself. So that keeps me on my toes. There's jazz dance involved, and forget it.
Oh, that's so nice. What about you, Mark? What other things do you do to supplement your acting and your drumming?
So I read a lot.
Okay.
In general, I read helps me. Well, let me break it more. So as far as drumming, I watch a lot of videos. I'm always like checking out other drummers, other styles of drumming. Trying to drum on different stuff, like include my drum in a different like culture. This is what I do for drumming. It used to be jamming right now it's different times, but I used to jam with a lot of guys that plays my drum, and that always gave me different ideas, or like, nice. Fed my talent, let's say. Hanging out with people like you is good, because they give you other styles. You could learn it, As far as drumming, in gigs, a lot of drummers too, we talk and we steal ideas, and we share stuff. That was good. As far as the acting career and the writing career, I read a lot of books that help. I watch a lot of movies, documentaries, in general for writing or acting, because they're connected in a lot of ways, because you're, you know, right? So it's mostly just being observant, you know, like reading books, even watching people or nature or movies, documentaries, reading. It's always good.
That's so good.
I might be lacking more practice when it comes to acting, but I actually did practice more, because lately I was like just performing my poems online, just saying them online, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, but I guess mostly seeking knowledge is the way you know, I would feed my talents, you know, knowing more anyway. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good that you say that, because you know I have a lot of teenagers watching these interviews that I'm doing, because you know they're 14, 13, and they're so fascinated by, you know, by the people that work in the arts, and it's so important that they know that you have to continue working.
Oh, always.
You know, it's not like you're just performing and then you go home and that's it. Like
yeah, no, like even in my drums, even like you know, a lot of people, you know, you know, being humble, a lot of people think, oh, you're the best, and I don't believe in this, because I still have to do a lot of work. Like there's some techniques I want to get involved that will need a lot of practice, and the older you get, it's a little harder to kind of have the time, and not just to kind of like be this kid again, to just actually drum for hours where you don't care about anything else, you're just drumming. So I'm trying to get that to, like, I used to drum for 4 or 5 hours a day.
Oh my God. Wow.
17, just 4 hours drumming all day. And now I'll drum half an hour, maybe an hour stretch. But that's actually not enough. If you think about it, to get something new, to have a new habit of playing or a new technique, you might have to have a job. You know, when you go to a job, you don't work for like 4 hours. You work for maybe 8, 7. Right? That's how you get the job done.
Exactly.
It's the same. Yeah, you have to put a lot of hours in it.
That's true. Yeah. So when did you guys realize that your art was going to be your career? At what age or at what point in your life did you realize, oh my God, this looks like what I'm going to be doing, you know, from now on? Or did you guys have that moment?
Oh yeah.
For you, yeah. I
didn't.
You
too, chef. You know, I mean.
Well, I was like multi-passionate, so
that's great.
I never made dance. Dance was kind of the thing that I did after my cooking job that fulfilled me a lot. Cooking was something, so the way drum is for him, cooking is for me. It's like something very easy for me to do.
Okay.
I don't have to think about it a lot. So that kind of went on autopilot for me. It was just a way for me to make money so that I could fund dancing.
Oh, nice.
Because a lot of dancing that I did was for free. I just danced because I had to dance. I love to dance. I almost never got paid to dance. A lot of I danced for free, and I didn't mind to do it at all. I would miss work to go dance. It was very important to me as an expression of myself in a way that, you know, I grew up so very shy. To go out in front of people and just do this kind of like very fabulous thing was addicting, very addicting for me. And I kept it up until I started getting interested in like producing events.
Okay.
I went back to the community and make events. Like I'd gone to some events that I was like, oh, I would love, like this event is so cool, and I would love if it had this other extra thing. Why don't I just make it?
Nice.
Give something to the community that fulfilled that extra little bit, because I was feeling more than a dancer. I was an observer. I was wanting to make sure that, you know, the dance events were not just for dancers, that they included the general public who maybe didn't know about this. And I would realize that anytime I talked to friends of mine
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would realize that anytime I talked to friends of mine that had no idea that there were so many belly dance events happening in LA almost every week, they would be like, where can I even find belly? I'm like, there's so many. Anytime you can go see belly dance. You don't have to go to a restaurant. There's like little small haflas and things you can go to all the time. So it became just a part of my life that was very, very, very important to me. I didn't even meet Marc because we hung out in similar groups, but he mostly gigged with people that got paid, and I gigged with people who didn't get paid.
Yeah.
But some of those people blended together, so we just never met because we were always at different types of
different circles. Oh my God, that's amazing! And you guys were both doing similar stuff. Him, the music, and you, the dance. And
we never met.
That's
totally different things.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. And Marc, when did you know that your art was going to be your career?
It's very funny. So I think I always wanted to be a drummer for a living, but coming from, Lebanon or the Middle East in general, it's not recommended to be a drummer. It's never enough, all this stuff. It's not like, the society is literally like harsh on you when it comes to your passion. Art is not, the most smart choice to do as a career. You have to get a real job, all this stuff, right? So I never really, it was like something out of my hand. Like growing up there, I couldn't pick it as a choice, and you just got it like they implanted in you that you can't be a drummer and make a living. Like, what are you gonna do? Like a drummer. Yeah. So when I start filming with my friends, I was 16, 17, I thought about doing it in school because I thought that at least this is the supplement for my drum. I'm doing art, and for some reason, people always look at actors that, there's a chance they might make more money than musicians. I don't know.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Which is, it's not always true. Can you get it?
Yeah.
Depends on how, depends on your life, what you do. There is the drummers, they tour and they make so much money and they make a living, right? So I always knew I wanted to do art for a living, but I had to find a way to like break it through to my family and my culture. So I kind of always knew, I always wanted to. Actually, when I went to acting school, even I was 18, I went to acting school and law school. I told my mom and those two schools, because schools like college were for free in Lebanon, like government. Wow. So I just had to pay tuition in the beginning or something. So I picked law school and acting school, so they don't, so I don't get a lot of headaches.
Of course, to please your family. Yeah.
I was like, law school is such a crazy, you just be a lawyer. You can't be a lawyer and an actor. It doesn't make any sense. So I was like, I'm dropping and I want to do acting. And then I got my first TV show and then I started making money. But even with that, I started drumming and making good money. I was 18.
Wow.
So my life was always like between music and acting. And music was always like really the career held my back, really.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So which one is the most memorable moment of your career? Like, Miri, what is the thing that you like from all the things you've done, all the performances, gigs, trips related to your dance? What is the one thing that sticks on your mind that you will say, wow, that was like one of the best experiences of my life?
I remember the first time I have two. The first time we got really Vegas. We went to an event and I just remember we were going to debut this piece that we've been just working on. there were at the time in this company like 11 dancers or something, and the piece was like 12 minutes long, and we had worked on making the costumes and everything. It was something we just put a lot of effort into, and we went there and we killed it. And I just remember seeing everybody in front of us standing up, and just even in the middle, they're going crazy and they're just standing, and I was like, for us?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, oh, this is really amazing. That was really, I can't even explain it. I felt just so lifted, way that I never had before. And then the second time was, and the second one was the first event that I put on. That was a really big one, a Taste of Belly Dance LA.
Okay.
I had for 5 years. The first year I put on a group of people, and we got over 3,000 people in attendance.
Nice.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. We really wanted to present all the styles of dance and explain them so that people who are not familiar could learn it and also enjoy it, and not just think of belly dance as like, oh, you mean like I Dream a Genie and like that. I would say, yeah, that's part of it, but there's like so much dance.
Yeah.
And that I got to meet so many people in my community that I'd never met before.
Nice.
That were popular, that were so beautiful, and we really created like a little family for 5 years. It was something really memorable for me that I looked forward to every year, and was a lot of hard work, but amazing.
Oh, that's so good. What about you, Mark? What is like the most memorable moment of your career?
In acting, I was very excited when I was a comparse, they say back home, an extra in a movie. And then the director saw me, and then she came and told me, I was like 18. She said, are you like an actor? I said, yeah, I go to school. She said, great, I want you to play this role in this upcoming TV show. It's like a really big role. Can you do it? I said, yeah. It was like an addict, and I had long hair and I looked old, whatever. I was fit. So, makes sense. Whatever it was back then.
Nice.
I got 13 episodes in a TV show.
Oh, wow.
I had like a secondary role, and it was a big deal. Like, that was a really great moment when she picked me, and then when I told my family, and literally in like 3-4 months, I had a TV show on like national TV, and
that's amazing.
It was a big deal. Like, people knew me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because a lot of times people are extra for years and they never get picked. It's like it's so many people working as an extra
that was
in the
like
background.
I would tell a story. Like my friend, my mom. How do you say that? My friend, his mom, right? She knew this director. My friend was on the show working like behind the camera. And then they wanted an extra right there, like that second. He called me. He's like, "You have to come now." It's a bit, I came.
Wow.
Saw me. She actually liked me a lot, and she think actually could be good for this role. And it's right, knowing the right people too, and then those people end up knowing. It's connections, right?
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, that was a big moment for me.
Nice.
And music. So many big moments. I don't know how to. A lot of things I've done made me feel great. I travel a lot. I was young, 18, 19. I was like in Egypt and mostly the Arabic countries, because we're Lebanon with the band all over like the Middle East, and just go to drum. It was such a great like feeling to go do something you like abroad and get paid for it.
Of course.
When I did that, it was always fun. These are. Being on TV. Oh, no, I didn't care about it. I was on Arabs Got Talent, but it was different. I was on Arabs Got Forgot. I was with the band. Yeah, like talent. Yeah, I was on the Arabic one.
Oh my God! And did you won?
No, we didn't win. We won the first. You know, there's 3 stages.
Yeah.
Round. Yeah, we passed the first one, so we got to the second, lost in the second, because we actually try to do some crazy stuff. We try to mix 4 songs in one song.
Oh wow.
Songs that sounds the same and play them together, and it was very confusing. It didn't work like as we expected.
Oh no.
I mean, yeah, it was a big deal. I don't know, man. You know, now talking to you, I forgot about all this stuff. I just coming here and living in America is like I forget about all the things I've done, because living here is very interesting. I would say challenging. It's a challenging country, you know.
It's very absorbing.
Dreams are bigger. Yes, here is different. Like so many people like you, and so many people want to be known and famous, and they want to, and it's very challenging to, I don't know, just in general. You know?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, we move at such a big speed and everything is so fast, and you're just running from one place. And next thing you know, the year is over and another year comes and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's very wild here. It's a wild city. Yeah.
But it's amazing. Even as wild as it is, that one thing that I'm realizing and that I have loved through these interviews is that we have managed as artists to continue doing our art. Like, it's like we are really fighters, you know, because we have to deal with this environment, with this society that moves so fast, and you're like, and everything is money, and you have to pay rent, you have to pay bills, you have to buy food. But somehow we have all managed to continue doing what we love and what we're passionate about.
Yeah, I know.
Like, how do we do it? If you think about so many moments where you go to sleep stressed about the next day, pull this off, and somehow it's like.
Exactly. So we managed to keep fighting, and you know, it's a beautiful thing. I think it's really up to us to continue doing that, to carry these artistic legacies that we're all part of. Otherwise, they will be lost. So talking about that, what if there's anything that you could change about, like, Miri, for you, if there's anything you could change about the dance world, what would it be and why? And the same question for Mark. If there's anything you could change about the acting or the drumming world, what would it be and why? What would you guys like to change?
Within belly dance, it's kind of twofold. I would definitely try to take all the drama out, because I feel like it's very distracting and useless. And there's so many other competitive dance styles that I felt in the belly dance world, a lot of people felt invalidated in some way because belly dance wasn't considered a fine art like ballet or modern or something. Something that was over-sexualized in the general public's mind. So whether or not you took it seriously, or depending on how serious you took it, there was a tendency in some cases that I saw to get catty or like very stressed and wanting to compete in not a healthy way. And I like competition, and I would tell Mark all the time, like, I think everyone should go through an audition process. I think it's so important to go through that and challenge yourself to keep getting better and better, because at the same time I would also see some dancers that were very comfortable. And I understand it's not a career choice for everybody. Do it, and not in a judgmental way. Just, if you're going to do it, go for it. You know? Challenge yourself. See what you can do, because there's so many nuances and so many beautiful things in belly dance. There's like, I never feel like I could stop learning belly dance. There's so much to learn about it. So I would, if I had a magic wand, I would create some sort of system where people were constantly challenged, and it was mandatory in a way that you had to audition to get to the next step, or make sure that you're constantly pushing yourself to get better and better and better, and not complacent and in the same level, because it's keeping the dance down. Wow.
I love it. This is what happens when we have a little one. It's okay. Oh, he got scared.
And try to take out all of keep the competitiveness against yourself to keep pushing, but take competing against other people on an ego-based level.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing because, you know, like sometimes you don't think it happens in other styles. You think that's only part of like the ballet and modern dance world where there's all this competition and, you know, it's like you're trying to work with a choreographer or be part of a company. But I didn't know, like in my case, I didn't know that there's that aspect in the belly dance world as well.
Yeah, it seems so fun from the outside. People are just like, shake it like Shakira. No, it's very, people who are in it get very serious about it. And I respect being serious about your craft. It's when you let your ego take over that makes it ugly and makes it uncomfortable for people. And then there are companies that you walk into and you don't feel secure because you're being judged a lot, or, you know, constructive criticism on how you can get to the next level, and instead maybe one or two dancers are being only pushed up. And because it's not structured like ballet or something like that, the people that come into belly dance, who can range from like teenagers to housewives, anywhere between there, they're not in that competitive mindset. So they need a balance of nurturing. They need a little bit of push. They need a little bit of that support from their people and their community or their classes or whatever it is they're part of, and not this feeling of like, you didn't even practice. You know, that cattiness that's out so naturally in people sometimes when they don't want to put effort into somebody's potential.
Oh, wow.
Lifting potential would be paramount.
That would be awesome. I think that would be awesome in every dance style. Like, empowering people and lifting them up instead of destroying them or like putting them down, you know?
Yeah, because dance is not just for money, it's for you.
Yeah,
dance
exactly.
And to take it from somebody because they're not a certain way or something like that is so cruel. It can be so be completely crushed by it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The support that you as a person teaching can give, or you as a leader can give to everybody who shows up, because I feel like if you're showing up, you're trying.
Of course, yes. All right, Marc, now it's your turn. If there's anything you could change about the acting and the drumming world, what would it be and why?
Ooh, the drumming world, maybe. This is my own dream. I would include the doumbek in an American culture somehow, as a minority drum, I would say. I don't feel like the Arabic American community is represented in America in a way that people might listen to their music, you know? Like, I don't feel we just got started with like TV shows that talks about the Arab world here in America.
Yeah.
Old Drami on Hulu talks about an Arab American Muslim Arab American. So yeah, I would probably include that more in the media or in the American culture. I would do that. I always try to drum not on Arabic stuff, more on different stuff, so people could know the instrument and get to know the culture through the instrument. And I like mixing a lot, fusion.
Yeah.
I like that a lot because I think this is the main reason of art, is to kind of get everybody together on some way. So my dream is to include the drum in the American culture somehow.
Yeah.
That's like a dream that's been going on since I moved here. I always try to do videos like that, or shot at people. As far as the acting world, again, it's a more personal dream than for the old. It's like any other minorities' dreams, is to include you know, for them to be seen more on TV the way they really are, is where they become more comfortable with themselves. You know how the African American community or the LGBTQ community, how they're being more represented on TV. And the Latin American communities, they're more represented basically. In all the minorities, the more they're represented on TV in the right way, not as, you know, whatever stereotype that is about them.
Exactly.
It's when they, this is what I think a change would happen to, that I would like to do. That's the change I would go for. You know, because at the end of the day, I'm doing art because I want to say something.
Of course.
Right? This is the whole thing. It's you're trying to say something. In a dance, you're trying to say something beautiful about a dancer came from war and she just want peace and she want to spread love and she's meeting her soulmate. Or anything you do in a movie, there's a story. In a music piece, there's a story. I'm more story oriented more than anything. Like, I always rather do art that has a story behind it that will change something than just do art for nothing.
For nothing. Oh, okay.
Talk something meaningful for me, I don't like him at all. Or even dances or anything that has no, I'm not a big fan of fun, you know.
Or commercial stuff that is
fun. Like fun. I like to have I like
to have fun, yes.
I like to have fun, but I want the fun thing to have a meaning, you know.
Yeah, of
like
course.
If it has a meaning behind it, then yeah, you know. But I don't like. We're artists, you know. We have a mission in this life to do
absolutely.
Silent or to be ignorant or to do stuff that just makes money.
Yeah.
Project's gonna make so much money. Let me do it, and I'm trying to, you know, I'm one of these people because we want to live, want to make money. But the change would be is to try to balance art and where you are getting paid, but at the same time you're getting paid for meaningful
art.
Yeah, not for stuff that don't matter. How many times you heard dancers? They go to some gig. Oh, I'm just doing it for the money, you know. Or me too. So many gigs I do them just for the money, and that's bad because then we're becoming like any other job that a lot of people are not happy at their jobs, but we could be stuck in the same way.
Yeah.
Something for the money, and because it's very hard to really make money doing real art. It's actually hard. It's not easy. You always have to go with the flow, what's happening with the society. And now it's, for me, it's a great time in Hollywood that everything is being more like open, you know. We don't have a lot of fakeness on I mean, we still have fakeness, but there's more real stuff, real stories about real people, not just.
I think it's wonderful, you know, and everything with the you know, with Netflix and with Amazon and with all these things that are like showcasing people's work. You don't have to have tons of money to produce a film. You know, we're getting all these amazing stories and films and documentaries and low budget, and just, you know, if the person is talented, you know, that's all. If they have the passion and the talent to do it, they can do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is so good. Yeah. Well, I think it's wonderful, and I think that, you know, like getting the drums to be part of the American culture is it sounds so good, and I think it's the perfect place because after all, we're in the United States of America. We're like the melting pot. This is the country where we all come from somewhere else, and we're all mixing with one another. So we should be embracing each other's cultures and just coming up with like new ways to celebrate the diversity of what we have, because it's so beautiful.
Where do you come from originally?
I'm from Colombia.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm from Colombia. So we do have, I understand about the drums, and we do have a drum that looks similar to your drum, but it's a smaller one for the cumbia.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, cumbia.
For the cumbia rhythm. Yes. So it's yeah. But yeah, I think it's wonderful that you guys are doing what you're doing. And wow, now, and I see that you guys are, you have your beautiful toddler and then the baby on the way. What advice would you give young artists? Like, what advice would you give a 10 to 14-year-old dancer or actor or musician? What piece of advice would you give them?
I would say to stick with it, to keep going. Put everything you have into it, because the alternative is boring. Art, really get into it. I feel bad to see people who are really talented or have a lot of potential to do something really well and don't put the effort into it. And that it can be fun and so rewarding. Like when you've pushed yourself to get something that was challenging for you, or that you thought was, I'm trying to get into a 13-year-old mindset. Whatever you think is like not worth your time because you'd rather be out. I don't know what kids do right now, but I think I just went straight home when I was 13. But if you're privileged enough or lucky enough, or you found it, and found you, there's a reason for it, and go for it and keep pushing to get it. The community that you become a part of is going to be so special in your life. It's much confidence to do other things in your life, not just art. You really figure out and find out who you are when you do some art. So if you just can keep doing it, and when you don't feel like you can do it, speak up, ask your friends to support you, ask your teacher for support. Just keep going. Don't ever stop going.
Oh, that's beautiful, Miri. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. What about you, Mark? Is there any advice you have for a 10 to 15-year-old kid that wants to be an actor or a drummer?
Yeah, I would say don't do that. Just go do a law school. I think it's funny. So, my advice would be obviously just follow your passion wherever it is. And yeah, I wish, I'm really blessed to find out that I was a drummer like so young. I know it's very challenging because society will tell you no and all that stuff. And even now, I'm still here when it comes to my all-in career, kind of stuff. But I would say follow your passion. If you don't know what your passion is, you really have to spend time
finding it.
What's your passion is, or whatever you do. A couple of things, maybe it doesn't have to be one thing. It could be a couple of things, 3 things, and stick to them. And don't. Things take a lot of time. I watch a lot of motivational videos, and one of them, recently, I'm all over the place right now, but there's one that I really like, talks about a bamboo tree that this man would see this other man watering the ground, and there's no plants and nothing, and he's just making fun of him. And then all of a sudden, after 5 years, he's passing by and he sees this bamboo tree that's so high up. And that's the time you might be taking care of your passion and talent, but there's no results yet. You're just growing the roots. And the roots are good, and then you just shoot up the sky from the ground. And that it's time. Time is very especially nowadays, people want to just be successful right away, and they just want to make money right away. And I'm one of them. You always fall in this trap of just want to be wealthy right away, and you forget that more you water your talents, that's how you actually have the real fruits, you know?
Absolutely. That was so beautiful what you mentioned about the bamboo, because I think sometimes people don't realize that they're shaping the roots of something, and sometimes they're so close to sprouting, and that's when they give up. And it was like,
Yeah.
no, it was about to sprout. Now it's like, oh my God, how could you do that to yourself? So that's
You
what
feel that so hard, and you have to put in your best all the time, not ever half.
Yeah.
You have to
yes.
you have, because it costs you nothing but a little.
Yes.
Yes.
So how has it been for you guys having a baby and doing your art? Was it challenging? I know you're expecting the second, but with the first one, how was that? How was it? It's always fascinating when we talk to artists that have kids, because, you know, it's a challenging thing. So how has it been for you guys, juggling, being artists, you know, working, and the baby?
It was. It felt natural. It felt kind of natural. For me, it felt natural to. We actually got to a space where we were trying to blend what we do. Because I knew a lot of dancers that when they knew I was marrying a doumbek player were like, "Oh, you're so lucky you're married." Like for a belly dancer to be with a doumbek player, they're like, "Oh."
They imagine you dancing 24/7 belly dance and just selling the videos everywhere.
But it was never like this for me, because the style of dance that I was reared in, the tribal fusion, you know, more traditional dance came a lot later for me. So drum solos and playing with a live drummer, dancing to a live drummer never was a thing for me. So people would say it to me and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with him. I don't even dance.
Oh.
Fellow experience at all. So for us to, and he would push me a lot to dance with him. He'd be like, "Let me
beautiful
dance something," and I'd be very uncomfortable and kind of like, "No, I don't think so." So when we knew we were going to have Tony, we just started. Something about being pregnant for me opened up some creativity in me, or I felt more. So we started kind of getting together and drumming. I would drum with him. Then I tried to push myself to dance, and he would play the drum for my stomach. And then when Tony was born, Tony just fell in love with the drum right away.
Wow. You know, I think I remember seeing a video of you pregnant on Facebook when you were expecting Tony, and you were dancing and he was playing, and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. I love it.
Yeah. He loves the drum. He loves the drum. So we tried to support each other in our art. So if he's not for me, then he'll be helping with critique, or he'll be helping with musicality.
Okay.
Songs or something. He'll help me. Yeah. He'll help me film it. And then vice versa. If he's
yes. And so Tony plays the drums.
Tony plays drums. And if Mark was working on a poem or something, I might help.
There he is. Look, there he goes.
He's just like, yeah, get it, boo. Don't be shy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. So do you guys know what your second one is? Is it a boy or a girl?
Also a boy.
It's also a boy? Okay. Oh, that's so sweet. Tony, you want to say hi to the people that are going to watch this? Yes. Say hi, Dance in America.
Hi.
Hi. People are going to be watching this interview. They're going to get to meet you. How old are you, Tony? How old are you? 2, 3?
He's about to be a year and a half.
1 year and a half?
Yeah, about a year and a half.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you guys so much. This has been such a wonderful interview. Yeah. Thank you for letting me pick your brains and ask you questions and
Very
just,
beautiful. Great questions.
yeah, get to know more about what you guys do. So if people want to know more about you and what you guys do, how can they find you? Because Miri, not only are you a belly dancer, but you're also a chef. So, and you're also doing the tarot reading card. So how can they find you when they see this video?
I'm on Instagram the most, probably. My tarot and other spiritual stuff, I'm at Miri Moonlight. Miri is Miri, and then
Okay.
Moonlight. And if it's like drumming with the family or doing art together, then it's at Miri Khan.
Okay, I'll be putting writing on the video at the end so people can click and see how they can find you. And what about you, Mark? If people want to know more about you?
Yeah, I'm putting all the videos on Instagram, all the poems videos, pictures from my acting, drum videos. My page is about my art and
Perfect.
you know, my family, because we're an artist family, so we're you know, yeah, my page basically.
Okay.
Oh, you want the page? Yeah, it's at Marc Khoury, so MARC
Okay.
KHOORY at. Oh, that's it.
That's it. On Instagram. But you also check your Instagram. So then if they can,
I do.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
So
I do, and I check my inboxes. You know, somebody DM you and stuff like that you don't follow. I always do check those too. And,
Oh, perfect. So that they can, because I'm sure, people might be, if they get curious or if anything, if they have questions from me.
Beautiful.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. You guys are such a beautiful family and such a beautiful inspiration.
Thank you.
To see a family of artists. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. This is very beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for having us.
You guys, thank you so much. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Mwah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Tony. Where did he go? There he is. Bye. Bye, guys.